Okay, I want to talk to you a little bit about brakes. This is our tractor, our 1945 Model A, and I've got some brake shoes here, and what I've done is the brake linings that I got on the used tractor were loose, or used parts were loose, and so I guess those aren't too hot. I knocked all the brake lining off, and then I took and ground it so it's relatively clean, a little cleaner. I might hit that with a cup too. And I also, these have a tendency to come loose, so I put a weld, just a little spot on either side, and what that's going to do is it's going to help hold this two parts of shoe together. I did it on all of these, and so there you go. I took the oh, there's a little piece that goes right in here, and I took that out of all of these. I'm cleaning them all up, and I'll probably go over these with a wire cup real quick just to knock off all the scale and stuff. They don't have to be perfect. What I'm going to do is I've got some new linings ordered, and when you put a lining on it, since the surface isn't so smooth, the lining's going to be smooth. I'm going to take up the slack with a little JB weld. So I'm going to run a real fine little coat of JB weld on there, and then I'm going to put the brake lining in, put the rivets in it, probably squeeze it with some vice grips and a couple pieces of wood in 3 different places or something, and I'll let that set. And then I'll probably knock the rivets over. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to use JB weld on that. Also, I'm going to coat the back of that with a little JB weld. This is our pulley brake, and that goes on there like so, and then you have to bend over the tabs and such, but I'm going to take up a little bit of slack on that too. Let me tell you about taking up a little slack on a couple other things too. You have this hole here, which is wallered out, and then you have this, which is reasonable. You could probably, if you use a machine, that machinist board out and put a sleeve in it of some sort and whatnot like that. But I'll show you a quick little way that you can get around something like that, and it'll last enough for me anyways. I'm just going to drive it around my yard. Come on, I don't think I'm ever going to put this thing to real use. This is just going to take up some of the slack, and essentially I cut myself an aluminum shim out of a caulking tube, urethane caulking tube, and I'm going to glue this around there with some JB weld and tighten it up. Then I'm going to slide it inside that to hold it in place, and that way, even if it springs open, it will, once the JB weld sets up underneath it, it'll be just perfect. And I'll be able to take it out and put some grease on it, and it should work a whole lot better and take up a lot of slack. You can also do that with your clutch lever. Now they make a new pin for this, which is expensive and doesn't fit right. I know, because I've bought one and it didn't work right. And they have a bushing for that. If you have a machine shop and can drill that out and put a bushing in it, and you know, fidget around with their parts made in India, then you can make it work. Or you can cut yourself out of a piece out of a Coke Zero can and glue that around there. I've got a piece that fits just perfect, and once you glue that around there with a little bit of JB weld, you can slide it in there, as long as you don't get JB weld on the inside of that. And once you shoot a little grease on it, this will be attached to the shaft, and it'll take up quite a bit of slack. And like I said, I'm going to drive this thing around my yard a couple of times a year. That's probably all I'm going to do. So you know, it doesn't need a lot of work. If I was going to actually work the tractor in a field or something, I can understand all that stuff. My brake shoes I'm welding so they don't come apart and jam up in the drums. That's a good idea. New brake shoes, that's probably a lot better idea than those other things. The whole thing I'm trying to get away from here is the brake shoes are cracked. They fracture inside the drum, and then they jam everything up, and you can't move your tractor because your brake's locked up. You have to take off one of the brakes, and you don't want to take them off, because then you gotta fix it and put it all back on there, and and all that good stuff like that. I'm buying a new gasket for it, so I might as well try to do them as right as I can. Okay, we'll have a look at that a little bit later after we get all the pieces together, and we'll see how that works.